Hi, welcome to Coding. This is episode 3 of Daily Dose. In this episode, we'll be covering a Wipro Coding Interview question. And the name of the question is setBits of. So we have a decimal integer 6 as sample input for us. So what do we have to do with this 6? First, we'll convert this 6 into its binary format. So the binary of 6 would be 110. So now that we have the binary value of 6, what do we do? The question is to find the total number of 1 in this given binary number. We have 2 1 in 110. So what should we do? We have to return this count 2 as the output for this function. Let us take the example 6. So we have 6 here. What is the principle that we'll use to find the binary value of this integer, decimal integer 6? We know that the base of 6 is 10 and the base of the binary value is 2. So we have to convert a number of base 10 to base 2. So to convert a number of base 10 to base 2, what do? We divide the given number of base 10 by 2 repeatedly till we get 0. And these values of the reminders will give us the binary value. Let us see how. So we are dividing this 6 by 2. So we know 2 3s are 6 and we have remainder 0. And that is shown here to the right of the page. So let's move on to the next iteration. So next we'll divide 3 by 2. So 2 1 is 2, remainder 1. So the remainder 1 is stored to the right hand side. As we saw, we'll divide this number by 2 till we reach 0. So now we have 1, we'll divide it by 2. 2 0 is 0 and remainder 1. So 2 0 is 0, remainder 1, and this would bring this loop to an end. Because as we saw, we'll divide it only till we reach 0. Now we have reached 0, hence we are ending this process. If you could see the reminders that we have here, if we move from down to up, we have the reminders which would give us the binary value of 6. As we can see here, 110 was the binary value of 6 and that is what we have got as reminders. So this is the logic that we would use if you want to find the binary version of a decimal value. But that is not a question here. We are going to use this logic, but we'll find the number of ones that we have in the binary value. So what do? Without printing this binary value, what we'll do is we'll count the values of 1 that we have here. When we divide by 2, we get the reminders as 1 or 0. So if we get a reminder as 1, then we'll increment the value of count that we'll first assign as 0. So we have the count value of 0 assigned initially before the loop. Once we get into the loop which divides this number by 2 repetitively till we get 0. So in this loop we'll have an if statement which would check whether the reminder that we'll get is 1 or not. If it was 1, then we'll increment the value of count. If it is not, we'll not increment the value of count. So this is the logic that we're going to use to solve this problem. Now let's move on to the coding part and code this logic. So here we are at GFG and the link to this question will be given in the description below. So do check it out after watching this video. Here we are given a setBits of function. This function would return the total number of 1 to the given n integer that we have. This integer, as we saw, is in base 10. So what do? We first initialize the value of count. So int count is equal to 0. Okay. So what is the next step? The next step is to divide this number n by 2 till we get 0. So we'll have a while loop for that, and the condition for the while loop would be the given number n should be greater than 0. So n is greater than 0. This is the condition for while loop. So if this condition stays true, then it means we have to divide the number by 2 and then check whether the remainder is 1 or not. If it is 1, then we'll increment the value of count. If it is not, then we'll not increment the value of count. We can just leave it and we move on to the next iteration. So we are having an if statement in order to check whether the remainder that we'll get when we are dividing it by 2 is 1 or not. So let us now code the if statement. So if n modulo 2 or n percentage 2 is equal to 1. So this statement says if we divide the n by 2, what is the remainder that we get? If it is equal to 1, do these statements. What are those statements? Those statements are count plus plus. So we increment the value of count. What does this count store? It stores the total number of ones that are there in this given binary format number. So we have the decimal number, but since we are dividing it by 2, we are getting the reminders which will denote the binary values, right? So we have the count. So the next step is, as we saw in the original example, initially the value of n was 6. After dividing it by 2, the value of n was 3, and in the next iteration, we were dividing the decremented value 3 by 2 and not the original value. Hence, we'll change the value of n as n divided by 2. Now this loop is complete. So all we have to do now is we have to return the value of count that you have just found. Now after the loop ends, we are writing a return count statement, and this would complete the program. Now let's run this code and verify our output. We have got the output as problem solved successfully, and that is the solution to this problem. So what is the output that we'll get if we pass the given number here 11 to the function that we just completed, setBits of? Let me know your answers in the comment section below. We have a question tomorrow that uses this exact logic but takes it to another level. So stay tuned for the next episode. If you love this video, please drop a like and comment down below if you have any queries. And don't forget to click the subscribe button. We'll see you in the next episode of Daily Dose. Until then, bye bye.